Hello friends, hope you are doing well and welcome back to my channel NUAA-TECH videos, and this is the series of Windows Server 2022, and in today's demonstration we will understand how we can establish or build a trust between two forests. So let's go and understand some basic points before we create the trust. So let's look at the prerequisites and some basic points before creating the trust. Okay, so this is Active Directory Forest Trust attention points. So this is introduction. So what is trust? So we can, this is an Active Directory Forest is security and administrative boundary for objects and entities. Due to some business reasons, if we want to establish a bridge between two ED forests, we need to configure forest trust between two forests. So this is quick introduction and about the trust. So forest trust are created between forest root domains and it is valid for all domains within the entire forest. So if we establish a forest trust between forest A and forest B, that will also be valid between the child domain, if any, or of these two forests. And the next slide. This is where the forest trust differs from external trust, which is valid between two domains. So forest trusts are typically useful in below scenarios. So first scenario is company A has merged with company B, and now both companies need to access each other resources. In this case, the ideal solution is creating of a two-way trust. So this is what we are going to do, and we will test it out from both the domains. If we have any resource, how we can access. The another scenario, that is company A will use an application which is developed by company B and hosted in company B's environment. In this case, typical configuration is an one-way trust. So today we are going to create two-way trust. These are trust directions and access. Please remember that in one-way trust, direction of trust and direction of access are always opposite to each other. So it means when a two-way forest trust is created between forest A and forest B, all domains in forest A will trust all domains in forest B and vice versa. If a one-way forest trust is created where forest A is trusting domain and forest B is trusted domain, then forest B can access resources within forest A. However, cannot access resources within forest B. So this is indicating one-way trust, incoming or outgoing one-way trust. Okay, in the next slide, let's discuss something about the security setting on the forest trust. So the first one, that is an external or forest trust expose a larger surface of attack. So we need to be a bit careful about the security. Therefore, it is important that proper security measures are taken while creating these trusts. These are two security settings available in forest trust that can be used to enhance the security of communication made over forest. So based on our requirement, we can sort the risk by creating the seed filtering or create the trust for selective authentication. So what is seed filtering? So when seed filtering is enabled, all the foreign seeds will be removed quarantined from user's access token while accessing any resource through forest trust. The most common impact of this is a migrated user's account which is still using any resource using old seed will not be able to access that resource anymore. This is because when seed filtering is enabled, it will block, filter seed history through a forest trust. So we have to make sure if we have the migrated users, so we have to be bit careful about the seed filtering. And next point, that is selective authentication. So to combat the above mentioned security loophole and have some control on the authentication, we can opt for the selective authentication levels. So we can execute some PowerShell command to enable or disable the SID filtering. One more scenario or one more the important thing to understand is AD site configuration for trusted forest. So there is one more important point that need to be considered, which domain controller is trusted forest will authenticate users. If site configuration is not correctly done in trusted forest, users and computers from trusted forest can be authenticated by any domain controller in the forest, which may be on a different geographical location. So if we are not creating or considering the site creation for authentication perspective, the query from a user from any forest that will route or go to any of the domain controllers. So it will not limit which domain controller it should authenticate to. To prevent this and ensure that those users and computers are always authenticated by nearest domain controller, we should create AD sites in the trusted forest with the exact same name of trusting forest sites where resources are located. It can be an empty site with no domain controller, but site links must be created to at least another site which is having domain controller. So this is just to route the traffic. Once this is designed implemented, the automatic site coverage feature of Active Directory will ensure that the users from the trusted forest are getting authenticated by nearest domain controllers. No additional configuration is required. So this is the checklist for forest trust creation. So if you are planning to create the trust between the forest, so these are some basic points which we need to consider. So business proposal, what we can give before configuring the first forest trust, you should prepare a business proposal similar to the below table. You should discuss it with the key stakeholder and get the sign off. Typically, you should also get a sign off from the security team because this is the security point as well. Before you create a forest trust, stakeholders from both the organizations entities should be involved. You should also keep the signed approval in organization's central repository for future references. So these are some key points which we need to make sure these are signed off by the business. So organization name and direction of the trust and forest or domain name or business justification. The another checklist, that is the action plan. So first one, uh, this is network connectivity. So ensure there is network connectivity established between forest and forest V, and also firewall rules are open. What are the firewall rules? I have listed out all the firewall rules, but you need to check the Microsoft article before creating the trust. These are the foods. And to create a forest trust, here are some requirements also. So the first requirement, both forests need to be in the forest functional level 2003 or higher. So if we are planning to have the trust between two forests, so functional level must be at least 2003 or higher versions. The second is for name resolution, we have three ways to do it. First, we can rely on the conditional forwarder. We can create the stub zone. Also, we can create the secondary zone. If we do not want to create or if there is any network overlapping, we can also create the SRV records, service records on both the side. So this way also we can do it. So one more thing, let me highlight here. Nowadays, we have a 48 or 48 DNS resolver that is syncing to our domain controllers DNS integrated zones, and the entire data for the DNS that is replicated vice versa. So in such scenario, if the name resolution is already taking place, we do not need anything, neither conditional forwarders, nor stub zones, secondary zones, or SRV record. Let's move on. This is note, when we create a trust on a domain controller, we will create new TDO. So basically, one TDO is created. TDO is trusted domain object in domain partition, and it will have some objects or the attributes, and this is replicated on all the domain controllers. So this is kind of one object that will be created under domain partition. If you do not know what is domain partition, I have created another video. So these are the TDO attributes. They will be created and their references as well. So these are all the best practices, and now let's move on to the server. So I have two forest test.local and NUAA-TECH So these are two different forest, and here we will perform the practical. Let's log on to NUAA-TECH videos first, and I log in as an administrator on this, and also log on to test.local, and this is my enterprise account, Ganesh R. So as per recommendation, I'm making sure you already created the site so that the replication is bounded towards a specific domain controllers, not all. So I have already ensured the connectivity is already established and all the ports, required ports are open, and I do have the privilege. Both the side I have account as an enterprise account. So we will open the Active Directory domain and trust, and just to ensure I will just check the connectivity once. Okay, and I am on NUAA-TECHvideos.com, and this is my another domain. So from this domain the accessibility is there. On other hand, let's try ping NUAA-TECH videos. So connectivity is through, so we are good to go. Let's go back to the domain controller, and from here we open the Active Directory domain and trust, and right click on the domain what we have and go to the properties and trust. So after selecting the trust, we will click on new trust and then next, and here we will give the name of other domain for which we want to establish the trust. In my case, this is test.local. You can also use the NetWive's name as well. Okay, we are not creating external trust, and this is forest trust. We will talk about the external trust later. And direction. So my direction is two-way. So from both the side, the users can access the local resources. That's why I'm going to create two-way trust. Okay, click on next. And here, this is side of trust. So if we have the credentials or the privilege to other domains, we can complete it from here itself. Otherwise, we have to do it one after other. So from first we will do the configuration from here, and the same thing we will repeat on other domain as well. So let's go with this option, this domain only, and click on next. So this is forest wide authentication. We discussed about selective authentication as well. And here we will give the password, and the same password will be used on the other hand or other domain as well. Uh, Confirm the password, click on next and click on next. And do you want to confirm the outgoing trust? I do not want to confirm because the trust is not yet done. If I would have completed on the other domain, then I could have selected on the second option, yes, confirm the outgoing trust, but I have not done it yet. So I'll go with no and click on next. Do you want to confirm incoming trust? No, and finish. So from one side, I am done. From NUAA-TECH videos, let's go to test.local, and the same thing we have to repeat on test.local. Right click on my domain and go to trust tab and click on new trust, and the wizard will open. Click on next, and now here we have to give the name for other domain. This is NUAA-TECH.com. You can also use NetBIOS. Okay, and click on next. It will check the connectivity and the resolution from the other domain, that is happening properly or not. Okay, so the connectivity is ensured, and so this is forest trust, the same thing, and two-way. Click on next, and this domain only, yes. Forest wide trust, yes, and I will give the password, my trust password. Okay, click on next, click on next, and relationship is created. And now we can confirm here. So we can share the screen to the administrator. So as we see here, if you read out this option, to confirm this trust, you must have administrative privilege in the NUAA-TECH videos domain. Type the username or password of an account with administrative privilege for the specified account. So it is asking for NUAA-TECH This is the domain. And there must be an account as a enterprise admin or domain admin, and we have to enter that here. Okay, so I do have that. NUAA-TECH, this is my NetBIOS. Okay, and administrator and the password. Click next and finish. So trust is created successfully. Let's check on the Active Directory, the trust is reflecting or not. And we will perform one small demo as well. Find, and here we can see the other domain is also reflecting. And also we can see here, if we open Active Directory, find, and we can see both the domains are here. So this way we can validate this is created. Now let's do a small test. Okay, and here in this PC, what I'm gonna do, in temp, under temp, I'll create a share. This is named as test share. Okay, and under this I'll place one file, ABC, that's fine. Okay, and let's share this and enable the share, and we will define the permission, find people, and this is my same domain, but I want to give the access to a user from test.local domain. This is selected. Let's find out a user. Okay, I'll pick this name only. Ganesh R. My bad. Control Z. Control C. Okay, go back to. Okay, let's find out. Okay, it is asking for credential from test.local. So test is my domain, and Ganesh, don't get confused. So this is my administrator account or domain enterprise admin account. Privilege also given to this account. That's why I'm using this. But you have to use who is having the privilege, enterprise or domain admin privilege. So let's enter the credentials. Okay. Okay, this is recognized. Okay, and having read-only permission. So I will give read and write and enable the share. Yes, let's access this. Okay, ABC. Let's type something and save it. I'll copy this path and let's go to test. And I already logged on with the Ganesh R. Let's try accessing that share. This is the one. Okay, you if this is not resolving, DC1 is not resolving, we can give the fully qualified domain name also. But let's try with this. Okay, this is already open, not prompting for credentials because I already logged on with this account. Let's try this. Okay, if I want to modify something, save it. I should be able to save. And let's try creating a new folder. Yes, I have been given access. So this way we can access the shares, printers, or any other local resources from other forest. So this is how we can establish a trust between two forests. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you are liking my video, please do subscribe, and thanks for watching.